Have you ever felt like your energy is fading faster than it used to, even when you're not doing anything too strenuous? Like just a trip to the grocery store or tidying up the house leaves you feeling wiped out? And maybe, at some point, you've quietly wondered, is this just old age? Or is something in my diet making me feel this way? Let me ask you, have you ever looked back and thought, I used to have so much more pep in my step? What changed? You're not alone. Many people over 60 feel this way, but the answer might be much simpler than you think. The truth is, there's one small thing that can make a surprisingly big difference to how you feel, and most people barely notice it. That thing is sugar, and I'm not just talking about candy or slices of cake, those are obvious. I'm talking about the sugar hiding in sauces, bread, processed foods, even in things we often think are healthy. As we age, our bodies handle sugar very differently than when we were younger. Foods that we used to eat without a second thought might now be the very things that are draining our energy, fogging up our memory, and disturbing our sleep. Have you ever tried cutting out sugar for a few days? If not, I'd like to gently invite you to try a little wellness experiment, just for 14 days. No harsh restrictions, no extreme dieting. Simply cut out refined sugar for 2 weeks, and you might be amazed at what your body can do. What? Do you think would happen if, for just 2 weeks, you gave your body a break from sugar? Would you be curious to see what changes? During those 14 days, some really surprising changes can happen, from brighter skin and a lighter belly to clearer thinking and more stable moods. And in today's video, we're going to explore exactly what happens when you stop eating sugar, especially if you're over 60. Let's begin with one of the first and most noticeable shifts, your energy levels. You might have noticed that as we get older, our bodies run out of steam faster. You feel sluggish in the morning, drowsy in the afternoon. One of the biggest culprits behind this may be the sugar we consume every day. When you eat sugar, your blood sugar spikes. In response, your body pumps out insulin to bring it down. But what happens next is a sharp crash in blood sugar, leaving you feeling tired, shaky, maybe even a little irritable. That's the roller coaster effect that many of us ride every day without even realizing it. Have you ever felt that crash in the afternoon, where your eyes feel heavy and you reach for another cup of coffee just to keep going? That might not be age. It could be sugar. Now here's the good news. Just 2 or 3 days after cutting sugar, many people begin to feel more awake. The afternoon crash disappears. Your energy becomes more steady throughout the day. You're no longer struggling to push through the day or relying on coffee to stay alert. You may find you can walk farther, clean the house longer, and do your daily routines with ease. Can you imagine what it would feel like to wake up with more energy and actually keep that energy throughout the day? My aunt, she's 67, once told me, I always thought my fatigue was just from getting older. Who knew that cutting out sugar for a few days would make me feel 5 years younger? That change didn't come from luck. It came from giving her body a break from the sugar spikes and crashes. Next comes something many people notice even faster: improved sleep. Have you ever found yourself tossing and turning at night, even when everything is quiet and you're truly tired? Or maybe you fall asleep only to wake up at 3 a.m., your mind racing? Sugar might be behind those restless nights. When you eat sugary foods in the evening, even just a small dessert or a sweetened drink, it can keep your body in a state of alertness instead of relaxation. Insulin goes up, and stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol might get triggered, too, making it harder to fall and stay asleep. How long has it been since you had a full night's rest, without waking up in the middle of the night or feeling groggy in the morning? One of my friends, Uncle Tu, he's 72, once shared with me, I gave up sugar for less than a week, and I was sleeping like a baby. No more weird dreams, no more waking up in the middle of the night. I'd wake up feeling refreshed, not groggy like before. Better sleep leads to a ripple effect throughout your entire body. Improved memory, better mood, and even lower blood pressure. Our bodies are incredibly wise. When we treat them well, they know how to restore themselves. You might be wondering right now, if cutting sugar has such great effects, why didn't anyone tell me sooner? The truth is, most people don't realize that sugar hides in so many everyday foods. A small cup of flavored yogurt can have 5 or 6 teaspoons of sugar. A slice of bread or a can of soup may contain added sugar to boost taste. Sugar is so good at hiding in plain sight that our bodies are affected by it constantly, and we don't even notice. Once you begin reading labels more carefully, you'll be surprised to find sugar almost everywhere. But as you start removing, something quite amazing happens. Your taste buds wake up. Have you ever noticed how overly sweet things don't taste as good as they used to? That's your body's way of saying, "Hey, this is too much for me." That's right. Within just 5 to 7 days of cutting sugar, your tongue starts to regain its sensitivity. A banana tastes way sweeter than you remember. Steamed carrots suddenly have a delightful natural sweetness. You begin to enjoy the real flavors of food again, without needing anything artificial to feel satisfied. And when eating becomes more natural and peaceful, something inside you shifts. You stop craving sweets for emotional comfort, because your emotions themselves start to stabilize. Now there's one more thing I want to gently bring up, because I know it's something many older adults quietly deal with. Joint pain. You may not know this, but several studies have linked high blood sugar to increased inflammation in the body. And inflammation, as you probably know, is often the root cause of those nagging aches, whether it's in your knees, shoulders, neck, or back. Do your joints sometimes feel stiff in the morning, like it takes a while to loosen up and move easily again? My neighbor, Uncle Sal, once told me, "I always thought my aching knees were just part of aging. But when my wife made me stop having sweets every afternoon, the pain went down a lot." Of course, sugar isn't the only cause of pain. But cutting back, especially on refined sugars, can help reduce inflammation. And that means your body feels lighter, more flexible, and more capable each day. And I understand, giving up sugar isn't easy. It's mildly addictive, that's true. You might feel cravings or irritability in the first few days, but I promise you, those feelings pass quickly. Usually within the first week, the cravings fade, and what comes next is truly worth it. More energy, clearer thinking, more restful nights, and a body that feels lighter and calmer. Can you see yourself giving it a try, even just for a few days, just to see how your body responds? Have you ever had one of those mornings where your stomach just feels off? Not quite pain, not quite nausea, just a kind of heaviness or unease. And then when you think back on what you ate the day before, it hits you. Maybe it was the sweetened coffee creamer or that extra cookie after dinner. Could it be that sugar is affecting not just your energy and sleep, but also your gut? Let's talk about what happens inside your digestive system when you stop eating sugar. You might be surprised to learn that your gut is home to trillions of tiny organisms. Bacteria that help you digest food, absorb nutrients, and even regulate your immune system. Think of them like your body's personal gardeners, tending to the soil that keeps you healthy. But just like any garden, the balance matters. When we consume too much sugar, especially refined sugar, it feeds the bad bacteria and yeast in our gut. These are the ones that cause bloating, gas, and those uncomfortable rumblings after meals. But when you remove sugar from your diet, you stop feeding the troublemakers and start creating space for the good bacteria to thrive. Have you noticed your digestion becoming more sensitive with age? Do certain meals leave you feeling bloated or uncomfortable, even when they're not that large? Within just a few days of removing sugar, your gut begins to shift. That heaviness after eating starts to lift. Bathroom visits become more regular and more comfortable. You might even feel a difference in your appetite. More stable, more in control. No sudden hunger pangs or intense cravings for something sweet. Just a quiet sense of balance. One of my friends, Miss Hoa, she's 70, told me, I never realized how much sugar was messing with my digestion. Once I cut it out, my stomach felt calm again, like it was finally at peace. That peace isn't just physical, it's emotional too. Because once your gut starts healing, something else improves right alongside it. Your mood. You may have heard people say, the gut is the second brain. And it's true. There's a strong connection between our digestive system and how we feel emotionally. That's why cutting out sugar can help with things like irritability, anxiety, even that occasional fogginess we sometimes call senior moments. Have you ever had one of those days where you just feel off? Not sad exactly, but not quite yourself either? Often, sugar is playing a quiet but powerful role behind the scenes. High sugar intake can lead to spikes in stress hormones like cortisol, and those hormones affect everything from mood swings to memory. But when sugar leaves the picture, things start to settle. You begin to notice a gentle calmness creeping in, a clearer mind, a more even temperament. That feeling of emotional steadiness you may have thought was long gone. Can you remember the last time you felt truly clear-headed, like your thoughts were flowing naturally without effort? After about a week of avoiding sugar, many people report something they hadn't felt in a while: clarity. Their memory sharpens. Their thinking speeds up. They feel more present in conversations, more in control of their emotions. It's as if a fog has slowly lifted, and this kind of clarity doesn't just make everyday life more enjoyable, it can help us feel more independent, more confident, even more socially connected. One viewer, a gentleman named Mr. Lim from Da Nang, left a comment on one of my videos a while back. He wrote, "At 68, I was struggling with brain fog so badly I thought I might be getting dementia. But after 2 weeks without sugar, I felt like myself again. It was like someone turned the lights back on. It made me wonder how many others are living in that same fog, not realizing that a simple change could make such a big difference. Another powerful shift that can happen during these 14 days is in your appearance. That might sound surprising, but it's real. Cutting sugar has a direct impact on your skin. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, why does my skin look so dull lately? Or maybe you've noticed puffiness around your eyes or a general lack of radiance. Sugar can cause inflammation beneath the surface of the skin, which leads to puffiness, redness, and even faster aging. When blood sugar spikes and crashes, it damages collagen, the protein that keeps your skin firm and smooth. But when you stop feeding that inflammation, your skin begins to breathe again. Blood flow improves. Collagen breakdown slows down. Within days, you may notice your face looking fresher, less puffy, more alive. Wouldn't it be nice to look in the mirror and see a version of yourself that looks a little brighter, a little more vibrant? Just from cutting back on something so simple? You might even find that small skin issues like rashes, itching, or redness begin to fade. Because your skin, like your gut, is an organ of communication. It tells you when something inside is out of balance. And when you give your body what it needs, clean, nourishing food, it responds with quiet gratitude. So let me ask you this. What if 14 days without sugar could help you feel lighter in your belly, calmer in your mind, and brighter in your skin? Wouldn't it be worth exploring? I know change isn't always easy, especially when food is tied to comfort, memories, even tradition. But what I want to encourage you to see is this. You don't have to give up everything you love. You just have to give your body a little breathing room, a chance to reset, to heal, to restore balance. And the beauty is, once you feel the difference, you might not want to go back. That slice of cake may still look tempting, but you'll remember how good it felt to sleep soundly, move easily, think clearly. How would your life change if you simply felt better every day, without needing pills or potions, just by making peace with your plate? When was the last time you woke up in the morning and felt ready, not just physically awake, but genuinely ready to face the day with energy, with motivation, with a sense of, I've got this. For many of us, especially as the years pass, that feeling can start to fade. You open your eyes, but your body feels heavy. Your feet touch the floor, but it takes a while before they truly want to move. You might even wonder, is this just what getting older feels like? But I want you to pause for a moment and imagine something different. Imagine that after just 2 weeks of cutting sugar, your mornings start to change. You wake up with less stiffness in your joints. Your energy feels steadier, not in sharp bursts, but like a quiet, ongoing current, carrying you through the day. Does that sound like something you've been missing? One of the hidden gifts of reducing sugar is how it restores your body's natural rhythm, your blood sugar no longer spiking and crashing like a roller coaster but flowing more smoothly. And with that balance comes real energy, not jittery energy from caffeine or sweets, but a kind that feels grounded, reliable. You might even notice that the mid-afternoon slump starts to disappear. That moment when you used to reach for a sweet snack or an extra cup of coffee just to keep going. Suddenly, you're not looking for it. You're simply okay, alert, content, and strong. Have you ever stopped to think how much energy you spend managing low energy? Now let's talk about something else that's often overlooked, your immune system. At our age, staying healthy isn't just about avoiding colds. It's about keeping our body strong enough to handle life's everyday challenges. Whether it's bouncing back from an illness, healing from a small injury, or simply having the strength to do what you love. Your immune system is always on duty, and sugar, unfortunately, can make that job much harder. When your blood sugar is high, even just slightly, it suppresses the ability of your white blood cells to fight off invaders. It's like asking your body's soldiers to defend you while they're half asleep. But when you stop feeding your body excess sugar, your immune defenses wake up. They become sharper, faster, more effective. Can you remember a time when you seemed to catch every little bug going around? Or when a small scratch or bruise took much longer to heal than it used to? These are signs of a sluggish immune response, and cutting sugar can help revive it. Some people even find that old, lingering issues, like gum inflammation, dry eyes, or recurring infections, start to improve once sugar is off the table. It's your body saying, "Thank you. Now I can do my job again." And here's something you might not expect. When your immune system gets stronger, your sense of vitality grows too. You don't just stay healthy, you feel more alive, more resilient, as if you've added a few extra hours to your day or a little more spring to your step. Wouldn't that be a wonderful gift to give yourself just by choosing to care for your body in a deeper way? Now, let's gently touch on something many of us quietly carry: our relationship with food and emotions. Have you ever found yourself reaching for a sweet snack, not because you were hungry, but because you were feeling something? Maybe a little lonely, maybe anxious, maybe just bored. Sugar has a way of soothing those feelings, for a moment. But what it often leaves behind is guilt, fatigue, and a deeper craving. And over time, it becomes a habit we don't even notice. A way of coping that doesn't really help. But after just 2 weeks without sugar, something interesting happens. Those emotional cravings begin to fade. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because your body and mind start to reconnect. You begin to recognize real hunger. You become more in tune with your emotions. And instead of numbing them with sweets, you find yourself facing them with more clarity, more strength. Have you ever sat down with a piece of cake and realized, halfway through, that it wasn't really what you wanted? That realization, that self-awareness, is one of the most powerful outcomes of this journey. You begin to reclaim your choices. Food no longer controls you. You choose it, consciously. And that shift brings a quiet confidence, a sense of freedom that's hard to describe, but beautiful to experience. You might also notice that your cravings change. Instead of reaching for sugary snacks, you find yourself enjoying fruits more deeply. A slice of mango, a handful of berries, they taste richer, fuller, more satisfying. That's because your taste buds are healing too. Sugar dulls them over time. But once you remove it, your sense of taste sharpens. Natural sweetness becomes enough. Have you ever taken a bite of fruit and felt surprised by how sweet it truly is? By the end of 2 weeks, it's not just your digestion or energy or mood that's changed. It's your entire relationship with food. Meals become simpler, more nourishing. Snacks are chosen with intention, not impulse. And eating becomes a joyful act again, not a tug of war between craving and guilt, but a quiet celebration of life and health. This change doesn't need to be dramatic. It doesn't require perfection. Just a little curiosity, a little kindness toward your body, and maybe the willingness to ask, how would I feel if I gave myself a break from sugar for just a short while? Because sometimes the smallest changes open the door to the biggest transformations. And those transformations don't just touch your body, they touch your life. Your conversations become livelier, your walks a little longer, your laughs a little louder. You feel more present, more you. So let me ask you, what would it mean for you to feel more like yourself again? Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like your reflection didn't quite match the person you feel like inside? Maybe you saw more tiredness than you expected, more puffiness around the eyes, maybe a dullness in the skin that didn't used to be there. And in that moment, maybe you thought, is this just aging? Or could something else be weighing my body down? Well, sugar has a sneaky way of speeding up how we age, on the outside and the inside. But here's the good news. After 14 days without it, your body starts to release some of that hidden burden. And often, the first place you'll notice it is in your face. That puffiness, it can start to ease. The inflammation that sugar fuels, quietly and constantly, begins to calm down. Your skin may look less red, less irritated. Your eyes a little brighter. Even the tone of your complexion may start to shift, ever so slightly, toward a healthier glow. Have you ever had someone ask, did you sleep better last night? You look refreshed, but you hadn't done anything different except maybe eat a little cleaner. That's inflammation lifting. And the beauty of it is, you don't need a special cream or expensive supplement. You just need to stop feeding the fire. Sugar, especially processed sugar, fans the flames of inflammation throughout the body. And over time, that inflammation contributes to things like joint pain, high blood pressure, foggy thinking, and even slower healing. But when you cut sugar out, even just for 2 weeks, your body starts to cool down. Your joints may not ache as much when you get out of bed. That stiffness in your hands or knees in the morning may ease. You might find yourself walking a little faster, standing up a little taller. Have you noticed a part of your body that's been whispering for help? An ache, a tightness, a fatigue that's become normal? Imagine what might happen if that part finally got the relief it's been asking for. Not through more pills or appointments, but through a simple shift in what you put on your plate. And then there's sleep. Perhaps one of the most underrated rewards of a sugar-free life. Many people don't realize that sugar disrupts our rest by throwing off blood sugar levels, increasing nighttime cortisol, and messing with our body's ability to wind down. It's like trying to fall asleep while your internal engine is still revving. But after just 14 days without sugar, sleep can start to feel easier, deeper. You might fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer. Wake up feeling more rested. And as you know, when sleep improves, everything improves. Your memory, your mood, even how your body heals. Can you remember a time when you woke up feeling genuinely rested? Not just less tired, but truly restored? That's the kind of rest your body wants to give you, and sugar can stand in the way more than most people realize. And here's something else. Your confidence may begin to shift. Quietly, almost without warning. You start to feel proud, not because the change was perfect, but because you followed through. You gave your body a chance to breathe. You proved to yourself that change is still possible, no matter your age. That small voice inside that says, "I can't change, I've been eating this way for too long." It starts to quiet down, and in its place comes something stronger. I'm taking care of myself now. I deserve to feel good. Have you ever surprised yourself by doing something you didn't think you still had the strength to do? There's a certain dignity that comes from making choices that honor your body. It's not about being strict or denying pleasure. It's about choosing joy in a deeper form: health, clarity, energy, peace. All the things sugar promises in the moment, but never truly delivers. And finally, there's this beautiful ripple effect. When you cut out sugar, your cravings start to change, your meals simplify, your digestion becomes smoother. But more than that, your days begin to open up. You may find yourself moving more, taking a walk because you want to, not because you have to. Calling a friend, laughing more freely. Has anyone ever told you, "You seem lighter somehow"? What's changed? That lightness? It's not just weight, it's release. It's the lifting of the fog that sugar can bring. It's your body remembering what it feels like to be clear, clean, and cared for. And just think, this all started with a simple choice, a decision to stop eating sugar for 14 days. No magic, no gimmicks. Just giving your body the chance to do what it was designed to do: heal. So now I'd love to ask you this. What would happen if you didn't stop at 14 days? What if you let this be the beginning of something bigger? Not a diet, not a rule, but a new kind of relationship with food and with yourself. What would that feel like? Because deep down, I think you already know. You are not too old to change, not too far gone to feel better, not too set in your ways to make a powerful, lasting shift. You've still got that spark. It's still there. And it's never too late to fan it back into a flame. You know, when we talk about making changes like cutting sugar, people often ask, is it worth it? Especially at this stage of life, when we've spent decades building habits, comforting ourselves in familiar ways, and facing more than our share of stress and loss. But here's the thing. Sometimes the smallest change creates the biggest shift, not just in your body, but in your belief in what's possible. By now, after 14 days without sugar, you've likely noticed more than a few changes. Maybe your energy doesn't crash in the afternoon like it used to. Maybe your joints are quieter, your mind a little clearer. Or maybe it's just that quiet pride you feel when you say no to something that used to own you. That matters. Because this journey was never just about sugar. It was about freedom. It was about giving your body and your spirit a break from something that demanded too much and gave back too little. Can you feel it now? That sense of ease that starts to settle in when your body isn't being pulled in a dozen directions by cravings and blood sugar crashes? There's a peace that comes with knowing you are nourishing yourself, not numbing yourself. And here's something beautiful. You didn't need permission. You didn't need a new year or a perfect plan. You just needed a reason. And maybe that reason was simple: to feel good again, to remember what it feels like to be light on your feet, to laugh without feeling tired, to wake up without pain, to trust your choices again. Have you felt that? When a little moment of self-care leads to a big wave of confidence? Because when you say yes to your health, even in small ways, it echoes into everything. Your mood shifts. Your relationships deepen. Even your memories start to feel sharper, clearer, like the fog is lifting. And the best part? It's not a fluke. It's a glimpse. A glimpse of what's possible when your body gets what it needs and lets go of what it doesn't. So, if you've made it this far, 14 days without sugar, please take a moment to celebrate that. Not just for what you've done, but for what it means. It means you're still growing. It means your story isn't finished. It means you are not stuck in the same old cycle, unless you choose to be. And I know some people might say, but I'm too old to start over. To that, I'd say, starting over doesn't mean becoming someone new. It means returning to who you were before the habits and the labels and the fatigue covered up your light. And you, my friend, still shine. That spark, it's still in there. And maybe, just maybe, this journey, these 14 days, wasn't the end. Maybe it was the beginning. A new chapter, not about restriction or perfection, but about nourishment, clarity, and joy. So now, let me gently ask you, what do you want to carry forward? Not what you have to do, but what you want to feel. What you deserve to feel, because this isn't about giving up your favorite desserts forever. It's about choosing when they're worth it. It's about stepping into the driver's seat of your health instead of being taken for a ride by habits that don't serve you anymore. You've seen what happens when you stop eating sugar for 14 days. Now imagine what might happen if you let those 14 days grow into a lifestyle, not strict, not punishing, but rooted in care. Rooted in love for the body that has carried you this far, through all of life's ups and downs. Have you thanked your body lately? For healing? For adapting? For still showing up for you after all these years? Because it's still listening. It's still responding. And it still wants to thrive. So take a deep breath. Smile at how far you've come. And remember, you're not alone in this. There's a whole community out there. People just like you, choosing health, one meal at a time, choosing clarity, one choice at a time, choosing to live fully, no matter the number on their birthday cake. If this video moved you, if something in it made you pause, made you feel seen, please take a moment to share your story in the comments. Let someone else know it's never too late. That change is possible. That you're living proof, and if you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe, because this is just the beginning. We've got so much more to explore together. Foods that heal, habits that energize, choices that free you. You're not too old. You're just getting started. Here's to living your best life, strong, clear, joyful, at any age. You've got this, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way.